All right, so right now we're gonna be reviewing, not reviewing, previewing the Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje, um, the fight that's gonna be opening the UFC 268 pay-per-view card. They decided to move this fight to the opener. It was up in the third slot before the co-main event. They moved it down to the opener so that Trevor Whitman, who is the coach of Justin Gaethje, um, Rose Namajunas, and the welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. So in order to give Trevor Whitman a little bit of breathing room in between cornering the fights, they decided to move the the first of his tasks, which would be the Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje fight, and move that to the opener to give them some breathing room between that fight and the Rose fight, and then of course the Usman fight. So this fight's going to be opening the pay-per-view, and I am excited. I was excited for this card. This is going to just add, it's like a little cherry on top, because see, now we're going to start with action. We know that these guys are both going to come forward. Everybody knows about the styles that both of these gentlemen bring into the cage. It is violence. It is utter violence. Someone's going to take a back step, like Michael Chandler said. The first one to take a back step, is a timid soul. Justin Gaethje said it in a more of a crude way. He said the first one to take a back step is a bitch. First one to shoot for a leg is a bitch. Someone's going to get knocked out. I think when you look at the stats, you look at Justin Gaethje's history, you look at Michael Chandler's history, someone's going to get knocked out. And out of this fight, I believe we're going to have the number one contender for the lightweight title. That lightweight title will be defended on December 11th in Las Vegas between the champion, Charles Oliveira, his first title defense against Dustin Poirier. We know who I'm rooting for in that fight. I'm actually going to be live at that fight, and it's going to be a banger. My first experience in the UFC, we'll be reviewing this fight. That fight, we'll be doing a preview, a review after the fact. We'll be doing, hell, we might even do an embedded series for that fight, and just, documenting the trip there, the action, what it's like to be at a UFC, and we're going to talk about all that for those of you that have not experienced a UFC. Now, with coming back to Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler, like I said, someone's going out. Michael Chandler, earlier in the press conference that was held today, he said Justin Gaethje, his prediction is that Justin Gaethje is going out in one. Justin Gaethje says that, he can likely put out Michael Chandler in 1 or 2 rounds. I'm with Chandler. I'm riding with Chandler on this one. I know that earlier in the year I was rooting against him, but you put it between Chandler and Gaethje. Michael Chandler is a class act. Justin Gaethje is, in my opinion, he likes to talk shit, and then when it comes back to him, tends to take a back step, and he wants to act holier than thou. So Justin Gaethje, fuck you for all the things that you've said in the past and the way you've carried yourself. You think you're, hot shit. You talk smack about Michael Chandler, who is a God-fearing man who has gone out of his way to be nice to everybody and to, earn his spot. And then you want to sit there and say that this man is an attention whore and that this man, that he's fake. Why? Because he posts his stance on how he feels about things, and because, he works for the company. And you call him a yes man when he just does what his job is. All that shit, it doesn't mean anything. It's just talk. But for a fighter to say, "Oh, I'm a real fighter, but then you're running your mouth consistently, it just proves, where you stand and how you define yourself. How they say, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and you complain about other people talking and running their mouth. You say you're a real fighter, and here you are stumbling all over your words consistently. You've gone out of your way to make horrible accusations against other fighters, and the truth is you're not at their levels. And Michael Chandler is, though you were the interim champion, you faced Habib and you wanted to get a crack at the belt again. You were asking for that crack at the belt after Habib retired. Michael Chandler stepped up. He took out Dan Hooker, moved on to the championship round against Oliveira, put up a hell of a first round against Oliveira. Ended up getting knocked out by Oliveira in the second round, at the start of the second round. But he's coming back strong, and They were talking a lot of smack about Michael Chandler because of the, he wouldn't stay out of the media. But this man has said it. The way I handle my losses is by talking about them. The way I handle my losses is by embracing them. You got to respect the man that does that, because most people run away, they cower to hide, and they never, accept defeat. This man decided, if this is Michael Chandler's way of coping with a defeat, that's so be it. You can't judge a man for that. And if you do, then, what are you really saying? He's not out there talking about you. He's out there embracing his loss, that breaking down his fight. What else do you expect from him? So you complain when Michael Chandler breaks down the fight. You complain when other fighters are not in the fight. You complain when two fighters are too into the fight. So, you can't please anybody. And I'm a big believer in that. You shouldn't try to please anybody or everybody. It's one of those things that I share that common view with Michael Chandler. I like his attitude, and his fight style is very impressive and very, edge of your seat, and I like it. Now, like I said, rooting into this fight, yeah, we're gonna bet emotional on this one. I don't like Justin Gaethje. I don't like the things he stands on. I don't like the things that he says. Michael Chandler, I believe that he's amongst the best lightweights in the world. I personally want to see Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. I think that'll be a hell of a fight. Very reminiscent to Conor versus Chad Mendes. I think that's exactly how that fight would go. Now, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, because I definitely think that Conor will be coming back. If you haven't seen those videos of this man training already 4 months after his surgery, you I had to check that out. Follow the man on Instagram and see, and how he's recording his progress. Now, one of the things, side note on that, earlier today I heard somebody comment on the Conor McGregor training. They said that his doctor came out and said that his recovery, based on what the doctor expects, is an 8-month recovery time back to the cage. That's insane, because if that is so, we're halfway there, which makes me excited, which lines up with what we were talking about earlier with Max Holloway and Conor in March. We never know. But like I said, we'll cross our bridge when we get there. Heading into this fight, like I said, there's been a lot of trash talk, but when it comes down to it, two men are going to walk into that cage. When that door locks and the referee gives his instructions and steps the hell out of the way, don't blink. I make my prediction, it's not coming out of the first round.